hi guys, I believe that evolved communities and evolved minds allow for conflicts and friction, allow for confrontation to be present, allow for structure to be challenged, allow for the sense of order to be shaken and reassembled based on how alive certain atrophies which we are entangled with collectively are echo within our individual experience. And I think that throughout our lives we go through things that are teaching us, yes, but also can be wounding, can be damaging. And I think there's multi-levelness to that, where one element is kind of settling of what you went through and how it's changed you, how it shaped you, maybe not in a way you'd liked, you wished you dreamt of as a kid, you envisioned. Then there would also be a fragment of understanding that you'll get through that, likely. And I know I'm talking very abstractly and maybe it's not to the benefit of things, but a very meaningful book which is such a testament of this as What My Bones Know by Stephanie Fu, where she wrote it as her memoir and a reflection on living with post-traumatic stress disorder. There are so many things that we internalize as a result of not being treated and handled correctly, lovingly, nurturingly, and not really being in an environment where we could be authentic and feel ourselves and learn how to relate to ourselves and how to navigate our internal emotions. And so I feel that through individual sorrows and these things, sometimes it's like a dam is broken internally and there's a flood of ambiguity with that, because it never, I feel, has a solely like there's not a dual nature to things. Like, you might be capable of tracing what of an increment of self-understanding it brought to you, but also you will always have a piece of you shattered, like feeling the like traces of it, like being left on your body physically, or like these scars on your skin or on your soul, like that doesn't just vanish with time passing by, right? And I'm really trying to get through to the point, to the meaning of why I'm opening this space for you, where I feel it's through this personal experience that your body kind of alchemizes certain fractures within the societal functioning, and you are in a position where your being can recalibrate, where it can change, where it can redirect and help soften, help strengthen. It depends, like whatever, like sometimes you need a stronger backbone and sometimes you need to allow for relaxation to really be more present within a certain context, right? Like, again, like I don't want to be dual here, but so it's within a context where conflicts, I feel, and this friction is safe to be expressed, because suddenly it's not just your frame of reference you can work with. It's the offering of somebody to catalyze a new sense of digestion, a new depth of digestion with like what they what they were shown in their own experience. I know this is very abstract, but this is something I function with, or I am with now in these times, with this understanding. It would be so lovely if all you should bring would be just joy and happiness and just like this vibrancy to where you're coming. But it's not all that lives within us, right? Like, it's not all that happens to us. It's not all that would hold meaning and value. And so you need to kind of settle this. Okay, so maybe sometimes we will cause ruptures. Sometimes we will cause collapses in an abstract meaning, or not that abstract one. Let's not rigidly cage this within the wording itself. But so it's also a process of like making peace with the complexity and with like what is meaningful to share. I've just like watched this video where I haven't double checked, I haven't checked the resources, okay, let's just say that. But this guy shared that there was an experiment where they would measure the potency of frequencies people would exude while being in different emotional states. And it was expected that the highest frequency would be the one which they would exude when being in this loving energy. Turns out that it wasn't always true. What exceeded the height was when they shared from a place of authenticity, even if that emotion wouldn't have a positive label within our language, within our human terminology. And so I always like trying to envision how hard it must be to receive something which doesn't come with a sense of like instant reward. Because if you keep your mindset within the lines of let's wake happiness and positivity within one another and let's focus on that and let's like feel more of that, then there's a very simple navigation to that, like where you see if there's like more of these pleasant feelings present within your vicinity, like, right, like if this like sense of everyone being more joyous is like risen. I don't know. But if you're like, maybe it's equally as nutritious to wake a sense of frustration purely based on the fact that that is such a strong carrier of this message of, hey, something is not right, you need to sit with me, you need to ask deeper questions, you need to change something, because like this is not working for us, like like for you. It's like, hey, you need to give me attention, you just can't have an escapist method of like, okay, now I'm gonna meditate myself into love and light frequencies. I think it's just so much more secure if you know that someone is not like filtrative of certain emotional experiences and elements purely based on their sense of uncomfortability with those, or unpreferability also. Maybe it's not necessarily that you couldn't take their charge, but simply you've oriented yourself within a mentality that they're just not beneficial. And I don't know how to relativize that and make it so like I feel personally that so much of my authenticity was woken through a sense of longing and a sense of aching. And none of that holds an ease and pleasurability to that. It can have an erotic charge, I do believe that. I do feel that. I think so much of that also is coming through motion, through truly embodying what you're feeling, and just like this sense of immersion. And I think when I now like direct this to this sense of, okay, so what is this masculine ego currently going through? Like, what is the shift? I think the shift is that it's not an enemy of ours. It's not something you're supposed to dissolve. It orients us. It gives us language. It gives us boundaries. It gives us structure. All of that. But it's like, if it's supposed to have a leading function, then how are we ever receptive to the soulfulness, the passive polarity within us? Like, I've read a fragment from Hillman's Provisioning of Psychology, where he says how soul is this feminine element within us that is rich in its aching and in its fluctuations, and that it's both, that it can be so pleasurable, the sense of immersion, and also like so damaging to the linearity of spirit, of this dynamic linear force, of this like ever higher, ever further desire, right? And to have those two in relationship within yourself, within unity, is this friction, is this tension, is this like, okay, I am within discomfort. And it's ironic because I feel like there's so much like spaciousness I'm touching upon, and I stand so steadily, I stand so calmly now, and it feels like right, and it feels grounded, and it doesn't feel neurotic or like a sense of like fizzling or unorientation. Like, I might not have the right words for the fluctuations. I might not be so eloquent with my language, but energetically it does make sense to me. I hope it is coming across somehow, because I know that the wording isn't great.